The House with No Threshold genre, psychological supernatural horror, suspense, mystery narration, type, one voice, TTS, deep audio immersion, chapters, 15, highly detailed and progressively intense, estimated duration, 30+ minutes narrated. Tone, slow burn suspense that builds into terror. Chapter 1, The Invitation. Without an address, Derek Vale, a reclusive documentary filmmaker, received a letter in an envelope without postage. It was handwritten elegantly. The house is ready for you. All debts are remembered. Come before it forgets. Mem. There was no address, but Derek knew where it meant. He had spent 10 years trying to forget Blackvale House, his uncle's crumbling Victorian estate on the coast, where his cousin Jonah vanished 20 years ago during a storm. He had sworn never to return, but the letter didn't ask. It commanded. Chapter 2. Blackvale House. He arrived on foot through a rain-slicked forest, guided only by memory. The house stood as it always had, massive, crooked, impossible. But something had changed. There was no threshold. The front door opened directly into the dark of the entry hall. No step, no porch, no delineation between outside and in. Just a black slit yawning open. Inside, the air was too still, too silent. He stepped over the missing threshold, and something closed behind him. Not a door, but a feeling. He was no longer just a guest. Chapter 3. The mirror in the foyer. The foyer had aged 40 years, though Derek had last seen it only 10 years ago. On the wall hung a large Baroque mirror, but the reflection showed things out of sequence. The chandelier's candles were unlit in reality, but burning in the mirror. The wallpaper was intact in the reflection, but peeling in real life. Derek touched the glass. His reflection did not move, and then it whispered, "We're already inside." Chapter 4. The room that isn't there. He found the upstairs hallway warped, longer than it should have been. He counted 11 doors. The house only had 7 bedrooms. The third door on the right should have led to his cousin's old nursery. Instead, it opened to an endless hallway lined with flickering gas lamps, even though the house had no gas. Footsteps echoed in the distance, bare feet on wood. He closed the door quickly. When he reopened it, it was a broom closet. The house was rearranging itself. Chapter 5. The dinner set, for one, the dining room, was pristine. A single place was set at the long table. A silver cloche sat atop a plate, steaming gently. He lifted it. Underneath was a roll of 8mm film, labeled Jonah, the Last Footage. He set up his projector in the study and threaded the reel. The footage was silent. His young cousin Jonah playing in the house. And then, Jonah turned to the camera and mouthed words. "You let me stay too long." The film burned out on its own. Chapter 6. The Staircase. That loops, he descended to the basement to find the circuit breakers. Down, down, down. Spiraling stairs slick with mildew. 10 minutes passed. The steps never ended. No doors, no branching paths. He turned to go back and found himself at the top of the same staircase, looking down again. Something was wrong with time, with direction. He climbed up and found himself entering from below, as if the world had inverted itself. The house was no longer respecting geometry. Chapter 7. The voice behind the wall. That night, Derek was awoken by a whispering sound, not inside the room, inside the wall. He pressed his ear to the wooden panels. A voice whispered, "If you leave now, you might remember how. But you'll never remember who." He punched through the plaster. Nothing inside but darkness, and a narrow handprint etched into the old wood, child-sized. He stepped back and saw dozens more surrounding him. Some were his own. Chapter Fumar. Hear the journal in the chimney. He lit the fireplace in the library, only to hear a soft thud from inside the chimney. A leather-bound journal dropped into the flames. He yanked it out, half-scorched. Inside were drawings, his own handwriting as a child. He didn't remember writing any of it. Jonah went through the wall. I followed him, but forgot how to leave. The house keeps parts of us. Each stay leaves echoes. The final page. If I forget myself, I become it. Chapter 9. The room where nothing moves. One room near the attic was filled with clocks, none ticking. Not a single second passed inside. His breath hung in the air, frozen. A chair had been placed in the center with ropes beside it, as if someone had bound themselves willingly. A note beneath it read, "This is where I left me." He tried to back out. The door had no knob from the inside. Something outside clicked once. All the clocks began ticking, in reverse. Chapter 10. Jonah's whisper. He returned to the mirror in the foyer. It now showed two Dereks. The second, one looked younger, 8 years old. He held Jonah's hand. They both stared at him from the other side. Then Jonah turned and whispered into young Derek's ear. The child nodded, turned to the glass and said, "You stayed, so we never left." The mirror cracked, but not outward. Inward, like something behind it had recoiled. Chapter 11. The Rain That Falls. Inside rain began falling inside the house. Not leaking, pouring. It only fell in certain rooms. The sound of thunder followed only when he stepped into the right sequence of spaces. In the main parlor, water pooled on the ceiling. A single hand broke through from above, pale, soaked. Then an eye opened next to it, watching him. He stepped back, and the ceiling was dry again, but his shoes were dripping. Chapter 12. The Room That Knows Your Name. He returned to the doorless hallway from Chapter 4. One of the rooms was open now. Inside, nothing but a blackboard and the smell of chalk. The board was his full name, written over and over in his own handwriting, slowly morphing into other words. Derek Vale, Derek Vale, Derek Vale, Devour Vessel. The chalk floated in the air and began to write, "One more room, one more you." Chapter 13. The body in the attic. He entered the attic, long sealed. A child's bed sat in the corner. On it lay a shrunken, preserved body. The face was familiar. His cousin. But he was holding Derek's old toy. A wooden horse with one eye missing. He lifted it. The corpse opened its mouth and whispered, "You brought it back." Behind him the attic door closed. The window vanished. The air grew thicker, and the house whispered, "Threshold reclaimed." Chapter 14. The house remembers. Every hallway became the same. Every door opened to his own past. His mother's voice calling, his younger self laughing, Jonah screaming. Each room showed a moment, real, half-remembered, or invented by the house. He couldn't tell anymore. He ran to the front door, no exit, just a mirror. He screamed into it. The reflection whispered back, "We are thresholds now." Chapter 15. The Exit. That isn't he awoke outside the house. Daylight. His car parked nearby. The house looked abandoned. No door. Had he left? He checked his phone. No signal. He opened his trunk. Inside was the 8mm projector, the burned journal, and his childhood toy horse. He sat behind the wheel, and in the rearview mirror, a boy stared at him from the back seat. Jonah smiled and said, "We're going home." The end. This version delivers even deeper suspense, psychological unease, layered mystery, and unfolding supernatural horror across 15 rich, terrifying chapters. Would you like a version formatted as a TTS-ready narration script, YouTube video storyboard, or subtitle transcript? I can prepare that next.